Hello, everyone. I wish to take this time to review for you the concept about trigonometry review. And in this case, you guys have done the homework, right? There's a 24 points homework about this unit circle right here in the middle. And you also had a recent quiz and it asked you a question about the crossing of the terminal with the unit circle. And here's the unit circle enlarged with special angles. So what I like to take you guys to is the importance of ARD, okay? As I have promised to you that I wish to make trigonometry simple, okay? And I also mentioned that any question you're going to see about trigonometry is either from A to D or D to A, right? So I made those statements. So I'm going to demonstrate in the semester that why and how. For that, I wish to take you guys first to A, right? All of you know that's about, if you're in my online class or you're in my in-person class, you probably noticed I emphasize tremendously about these I call three pillar of trigonometry. And they're called three pillar trigonometry for a good reason, okay? If we want to see trigonometry as easy and simple, we must focus on these three pillars. The first one, which is everybody knows, right, is about how is angle measurement. Angle measurement, okay? And these angles we refer to as the input for sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, secant, and cosecant for these 6 functions. Okay, so all the angles that are the output for arcsine, arccosine, arctangent, and arccotangent. I mean, we rarely use arcsecant, arccosecant. So angle measurement, we have such description, okay? A positive angle, okay, a positive angle is measured counterclockwise, okay, from the center position, okay? And of course, the negative angles is measured clockwise from the center position, from the same position. Okay, we all understand that. I mentioned that every lesson, online or in person. Okay, so what are A for, right? A are the inputs to the 6 functions, okay, to the 6 functions. So I'm going to bring these 6 functions this way. One more column, right? These 6 functions. These 6 functions include sine, right? Cosine, tangent, and their reciprocals. Cotangent, okay? And the outputs are ratios of various sorts, okay? So you just need to know for these functions, the inputs are angles. How are these angles measured? They're measured this way. And okay, we have studied arcsine, arccosine, right? The input for arc functions, right? The input for the arc functions, I'm gonna make it less, okay, 4. Okay, I'm not gonna mention arc, cosecant, arcsecant, because they're almost never used, okay? So arcsine of x arc sine, arc cosine, sorry, arc cosine of x, arc tangent of x, arc cotangent of x. All of these takes input, which are ratios. Ratios are input. So I'm going to put it in words. Okay, ratio. Okay, they're all, the input will be treated as a ratio. The output for all these functions are going to be angles. How are these angles measured? Right here. Okay, right here. So when you see these functions, you know what's input, output, input, output. Okay, so I'm going to put a ratio with the bold, with a different color. So the angle measurement has such an important role. So we need to understand how they're used and where they're used. And of course, the next is reference angle. Okay, the reference angle is the positive, okay, acute angle between the terminal and x-axis. Okay, so everybody know these definitions, and as a teacher, when I teach the classes, you know, these are the concepts in my head all the time. And last, of course, and not least, is a definition. Definitions. Okay. Now, definition, in the definition, okay, we have set a state, and that state is that we assume that there's a point, okay, x comma y is a point on the terminal size of an angle A, right? We talk about this all the time, the angle A. And how is A measured? Right here, right? How A is measured. Other than the origin. This assumption guarantees, okay, the R, which is defined right afterwards, which is x squared plus y squared and being taken square root of. And this implies that R is always going to be positive. Okay, R is always positive. Now, and then of course we know how sine is defined and so on and so forth, right? So I'm going to just briefly mention that. Okay, how sine is defined, right? Everybody knows that's y over r, and the cosine is x over r, and the tangent is y over x. Okay. I noticed some of you guys are using the definition of trig functions in geometry. Okay, the adjacent sides over hypotenuse. You need to do a transition, even though that definition doesn't, you know, because geometry is not on the rectangular system. So you need to make that transition. Okay, so this is y, and this is r over x, and the cotangent, of course, is x over y. Okay, so we have these definitions already. So next, I made this statement. I said, well, all the questions you're going to see in this life, okay, this life, my life, your life, ARD. Okay, and I'm going to write another ARD because you have seen it. Now you already see it. Okay, all the questions you're going to see is either from A to D or D to A. Okay, in this life of ours, all the questions about trigonometry will be either A to D or D to A, right? So in the graphing of these functions, we plot the points, right? We got the blue bars, the red bars. Those are all A to D, A to D. Okay, you have homework, like, your homework is about A to D, right? And the arc sine, you know the ratio, you're getting the angle, that's D to A, that's D to A. And what is R used for? R is used for the bridge. R is the bridge, okay? And the other place that you get to use it, which is solving big equations, okay, which next week we're gonna do more of it. It's also D to A. It's also D to A. So A to D, D to A, if you are aware of it. And that's how things could look simple. Okay, so you have that concept. Now, how about these three pictures? I talk about these three pictures. I'm not gonna make this video very long. Is that many of you, okay, who have studied trigonometry, you have super duper memory about these special angles, right? And why did I introduce these two? Yeah, on your homework and on the quiz, because I want you guys to be able to not only handle the cases that involve special angles, I also wish you guys to be able to handle cases that are non-special angles. So any angle, whether it's A to D or D to A, and you know how to handle. So how can you make sure you can do that? Is you focusing your attention on these A, R, ARD. Okay, so now, how are these three triangles related, right? Some of you said, oh, you're confused about the question that on the unit circle, right? On the quiz, we talk about that. You see, this is the cosine value. Okay, this is the cosine value. Okay, of an angle that terminates on this terminal. And this is the sine value. Okay, this is sine value. So I'm going to, oops, I need to make an arrow, right? Hold on. Oh, arrows here. Okay, I hope you guys can see clearly. I think that should be fine. Okay, so now this is the cosine of an angle. Okay, terminates on that terminal. And this is a sine of that angle that terminates on that same terminal, right? And you can see these 2 points, if you think about definition, negative 12.5 is a point on the terminal side of the angle, which give us the cosine value and sine value. And the cosine value and sine value is making another point on the unit circle. Okay. Then you say, does negative 12 over 13 comma 5 over 13 has a place on the unit circle? Yes, it does. That's the point I want to make here. So this point, negative 12 over 13 comma 5 over 13, that point has a place on the unit circle. Okay, so it's going to be the same angle that whether any way you measure it terminates on the same terminal, right? And it's going to terminate right here. It's going to be terminated right here. Okay, and of course my drawing is not to the proportion. Okay, it's probably something like that. Okay, and of course this line will keep going and going forever. And negative 12.5 is going to be way over there, right? And negative 12.13 and 5.13 will be sitting right here. So even though you see those special points on the unit circle, but they're also invisible, non-special points, okay? And what is that point? Okay, so here I'm going to mark it for you. This heart is, okay, that is going to be, I'm going to mark it over here. Okay, that point, oops, what a mess. What a mess. Forgive me. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay, so here, there. Now I got it. Okay, so that point is negative 12. 12 over 13, there's a negative sign in front of it. And the other one, the y coordinate is 5 over 13. Oh, not 5, not 15, 13. Okay, so my point is every terminal, whoops, I think I need to redraw this. Okay, I'm going to redraw this. No problem. Let's redraw this. Okay, clear all. Okay, so we said, okay, this terminal has a place crossing the unit circle. Okay, and that point is the heart. Okay, and that heart is that point, okay, after we enlarge the unit circle right there. I hope you get it. How about these four points, right? When you were doing the homework, when you were doing that quiz, it was 24 points. I want you guys to reflect on that, okay? I don't give you that quiz for no reason. It's not a random quiz. It's a quiz for you to reflect, okay? So now, after you find those sine, cosine values for alpha, beta, theta, sigma, there's also a unit circle, okay? There's also unit circle, and that unit circle, say, sitting right here. So I'm going to have to redraw this. Okay, pardon me. I'm going to have to redraw this. Okay. All right, let's see if this will work. I'm going to do a unit circle. Okay. Oops. Yeah. Okay, we can do it over, right? We can always do it over again, right? So there's a unit circle here, right? There's a little unit circle here. It's not perfect, but you forgive me, right? And now this little unit circle, you can see the terminal crosses the unit circle, and there's another dot, right? There's a dot here, there's a dot there, there's a dot here, there's a dot here, right? So let's mark these points. Okay, let's mark these points. Okay, so I'm gonna draw in a better picture. How about that? I'm gonna draw a better picture. Okay, delete. Okay, I'm gonna draw a better picture. If you let me, be patient with me. Thank you. Okay, so I'm drawing this unit circle. Oh, what are we doing? Okay, so hopefully this time I'll be successful. Oh, can I make it larger? No, it doesn't. It doesn't help. It doesn't let me do that. Okay, last attempt. Last attempt. Okay, I'm gonna draw that unit circle. You know what? I have an idea. I should not be using this software to draw it. Okay, I think sometimes I can be pretty nerdy about drawing these pictures. Oh, you guess what? I cannot draw over on this one, but so that yeah, I guess I have to do this. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna draw this unit circle. Okay, I want you guys to mark the points with me. Okay, mark the point with me. So by this time, you know how to find the cosine value and sine value by definition, right? So what would be the point here? This point, cross the terminal crossing the unit circle. That's going to be 4 over 5, right? 3 over 5, yes? 4 over 5, comma 3 over 5. See, in the definition says there's a point on the terminal side of the angle other than the origin. You can use the given point, and you also have these other point. And this other point, which is sitting on the unit circle, happen to be the cosine value, comma, sine value. Okay. So, and you can also mark, and then the question is, does this point has a place on the unit circle? Of course, we already found the place, right? We already found the place. And what is it? Well, for this one, if you want to fit in on this unit circle, and now it used to be invisible, so now I'm going to make it visible. It's right here. It's right here. Okay. And there's a crossing. I'm going to put a heart on it. It's right there. And that point is going to be the same as, okay, right here. Okay, so let me mark it for you. Okay, let me do it right. Okay, hold on. I will get there. I will get there for you. So this point is 4/5, comma, 3/5. Okay, I think by this time you understand all the other points, they all have a place on the unit circle. So what we all need to understand is that every terminal, okay, depending on the points is given they all crosses the unit circle. And the crossing is the cosine, comma, sine value. Okay, so that, I hope that helps you to understand. The next thing I will ask you guys to do, I know many of you have, quite a lot of knowledge about trigonometry. Whatever you have learned about trigonometry before, they're not going to be going to waste. I'm asking you guys to bring those questions, okay? To bring those questions all under all the knowledge you have learned, bring them all under the umbrella of ARD. And you will find that everything you did before, you may not be aware of it, or you may not have used the definition as often. Okay, bring them all to the umbrella, under the umbrella of ARD, and you will be delighted. Actually, you only just have to deal with A to D or D to A. And of course, this discussion will unfold with more examples as we're going through the following weeks on trigonometry. Okay, so thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to send them my way. Have a great weekend.